Hi, it's Patrick here from the Code Lovers Academy. Welcome to my HTML video for beginners. If you've been following through the series, in our first video, we looked at Introduction to HTML, where we discussed about the tools that we need to download and install to be able to start writing your HTML file. So we looked at, we need a code editor and then we need a browser. I'll be taking you through how to download your code editor, in this case, VS Code. So without wasting time, let's dive into it. So I come here and open my Chrome browser, and then you can go to the address code.visual Studio Code. It has already brought a suggestion, visualstudiocode.com, stroke download. You hit enter, and it brings you to this page where you have three options. If you have the Windows operating system, this is what you need to download. If you're using a Mac, and then if you're using the Linux operating system. So for me, I'm using Windows. So you come and click this big blue button on your left, which shows Windows. So when you click that, it will download Visual Studio Code. And then once that file is downloaded, you go back to your, go to your download and look for the file. So I come to my download, and then I have Visual Studio Code here downloaded. So real quick, I will open this up, double click. Mine is taking some time to start the installer. So we are here. So here you'll see it's telling you to accept the agreement. Probably you can read all this, but sometimes you just need to accept because you need to use the tool. These are their terms. So select, I accept the agreement, go to next. This, leave it as it is, unless you want to change the location you want to save the file, but you can go to next. Visual Studio Code, that's the name it will show. So still, there's also here that says don't create a startup menu folder. I don't mind, so I go to next. And then here, when you read, you see something here, additional icons, create a desktop icon. Now, I always love to have a desktop icon of all these programs that I've downloaded. So I'll tick that. If you don't want it to be on the desktop, you can leave that unchecked. Click continue, and then here you can now install the VS Code. So it will take a few seconds, probably, to install. So once it is installed, you will see a button pop at the bottom that will say finish. So yeah, as we wait, once it starts showing the green bar, we just wait a few seconds. Once it's done, then we can now start writing our first HTML file and also creating our first web page. Very excited at this stage because we're going to get into like coding and also looking at most of these tags and elements we've been talking about. We'll also go deep into explaining certain concepts, and we will also have a bonus point. Like, I have something for you for the bonus at the end of the video that I will show you, something that will be really exciting for us beginners. So yeah, so it's getting there. My computer is a little bit slow. Yours might be a little bit fast. But yeah, I needed to really get us set up to have a modern a modern code editor. You could do this on Notepad. I know maybe some of you have heard of that, but Notepad is so limited that you might not be able to do a lot with it. But since we're going to be doing this course, we're going to integrate CSS, we're going to integrate JavaScript as we continue moving forward. So I felt like we need a modern code editor that has so many features that could help us really learn. Yeah. So we have a finish button here at the bottom. So you click finish. So once you do that, now it means that your code editor is ready. So yeah, it's opening immediately here, as you can see. So yeah, we have our Visual Studio Code code editor already open. So a few things here, as you can see, the code editor has icons on the left. When you go highlighting on them, it will show you there's the Explorer, this is search, source control. Most of this might not be a little bit familiar to you, but as we continue, we will be looking at each one of them. But for now, we can close this welcome message. Thank you. So yeah, we have our code editor. Now, I will take you through, also we need to look at, if you don't have a browser, let's see, okay, because earlier I'd recommended that we would start with, we would use Chrome. So you could go to any code editor that you have on your machine, a default one probably. If you open, you can open another one like Edge. You can use Edge, Safari, any that you have as default on your machine. Go to it and just go to Google. Type google.com/Chrome. Hit that. Once you hit that, it will bring you to this page where it says download Chrome. So once you click this big button, you will be able to download Chrome and it will be installed and it will just open. Once you click on it, after downloading it, you'll see a file, go to your files, open it up, and after the installation, it will just pop up on your desktop. So yeah, that's the process. I won't go through this because I already have it installed. Okay, so yeah, here we are. So we're going to our code editor and start writing our first HTML file. So there are so many options here, but I would say we need to create a folder on our desktop. You can right click and select new, create a folder. We could probably call it HTML it's a HTML intro probably. So once we have this, when we can come and open our VS Code. Now from our VS Code, we have a shortcut here which says open folder. We can come directly here and click on this button and it will take us to, we can select desktop and we can look for it, which is here, HTML intro, click on it, select folder, and then, yeah, it will open that folder on Visual Studio Code. Now we are here. When you come here, you'll see HTML intro. This is the folder we created. So now, remember in the earlier video, we talked about that we need to create an HTML file with a .html extension. What does that mean? So when we come here, when we highlight here, you'll see the first icon here says new file. Here says new folder. Here says refresh explorer and all that. But now we need to create a file. So you click here and then we create our first file. We can call it index.html. This is able to tell the browser that we're working with HTML. So we can hit that enter. And then now we have it open. So we want to look at how do we start writing our first HTML file. Very, very important. So we looked at yesterday how an HTML code looks like, the syntax. So we want to start looking at the syntax. We want to write it so that each one of us understands what does the syntax mean. So as I write, I will keep explaining. So the first element on top will be the doc type. As you can see here, Visual Studio Code is already suggesting to us doc type. So what this is telling the browser is that the doc type is HTML. Browsers can preview so many types of files. For example, XML, SVG files, and so forth. So the first thing we need to tell the browser is that we are working with HTML. So that is the first element that we'll have. The next one that we'll have is an HTML element. So as you can see with Visual Studio Code, as you type the first tag, it brings for you the closing tag. So HTML should enclose all the other tags. And then the next tag that we shall have is the head tag. You can type head and just tab. Click on the tab button, touch the tab button, and then it will just bring the other closing tag. So on our head, there are few, we talked about meta tags yesterday. So there are there's other metadata that can be put in the head element. So we're going to look at a few important ones that we need to note. But what you need to know on the head, we have the meta tags, and then we also have the title that will be displayed on the browser as the title of your page. But the first meta tag that we will have is, now we write it as meta, and then give it a closing tag. Inside it, we will have the character set. Now the character set attribute, we will have the character set attribute that will specify the character set for our HTML document. So the character set here will be, we type that, and then it will be UTF-8. That will be the character set. And then we can also have another meta tag, probably for the name of the author. We can have one for the description and all that. But for now, I feel this is what is really important. And then we can also have a title element. We can have a title element. And in the title element, we can call this, we can give it a name. We can give our first HTML file a name, and then we can call it maybe my first web page. So we can call it my first web page. So that will be our title. We move on. We will have the body. So the body now will be in this body element. This is what will be displayed in the browser. So this is the content of the web page that will be displayed on the browser. So inside the body is where we can now have things like the title for our page. We can also have the paragraphs. We can have the images, everything like that. So under the body, we can have first our title, which is the H1 in this case. And the H1, our first title of our page could be, like we could say, Hello World. Hello World as our title. And then we could also have a paragraph element here. And we could have a simple paragraph like, this is my first, this is my first web page. So yeah, this is our HTML file. So I was telling you earlier that with VS Code, you can be able to launch your HTML file. You can preview it by only coming down here. You can see my arrow. You see down here on your right hand side, you see go live. So when you click go live, it's able to display this HTML file in the browser. So when I click here, go live, just waiting for a minute. So as you can see, your HTML file has been displayed here. Hello world, this is my first page. On the title here, you can see my first web page. So we need to open this side by side so that we can see some of these changes real time. Just a minute for me to do that. 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 So we can have it on one side. And the browser preview on the other side. Just we can be seeing some of the changes that we are implementing here. So yeah, so just to take you through, our title here, which is my first web page, is our title displayed here as my first web page on top here. So this is the title of our web page that we've just created. And then when you come to the body, we said the body element, as I've highlighted here, anything within the body element is displayed as content on the web page. And that's why you can see here, our H1 here as Hello World. So Hello World is here as the title of our web page. It's our first heading. And then we have the paragraph here, which is, this is my first page, which is displayed here. So this is our first web page. We have been able to create our first web page. If we say that we want to add, probably, let's say, we need to add maybe another paragraph, let's say. And then we say, I have created my first web page on my own. So when we say Control save it, and then come here and refresh your browser. So when you refresh, you see our second paragraph here, which says, I have created my first web page on my own. So this is how you work with HTML. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this video, and go to the comment, tell me how it has gone on your side. But please take your time, master these things, and do them on your own, like practice and take this nice step. As we continue learning, these small wins will give you the courage to actually continue with the course and be able to actually even learn more. So on the other hand, I will also go ahead and share with you. I remember I told you that we have a bonus. We have a tip that I wanted to show you guys, something very interesting that I wanted you guys to see. And I'll just go ahead and do that right away. So I will close this and just go and pick one of my images that I had saved here and just move this to my file like that. Okay. You guys can't wait. You guys can't wait for this one. going to be interesting. So I'll open up my studio code and I'll open up this. And when we check here, we have our image here. So there's one thing that I wanted to show you. When you come here on your browser and where it says my first web page, you can see some small sort of icon here that is not visible enough. That's a browser sort of icon that is there. And when you go to most of these web pages, you realize that even just when you come to this one for VS Code, you see that documented for VS Code, but you can see a logo for VS Code here. So I also want us to have sort of a small icon. They're called fav-icons on our first web page. So for that case, what we need to do is come under the head, here on the head, inside the head element, and then inside the head element, have a link on the head element. Close it. So in the link, what we need to do is we will have an attribute of real. So this, we are able to now import that fav icon so that it's being able to be displayed as an icon on our browser. So on the real, we'll call it, this is an icon that we're bringing in. And then we have href, which is hypertext reference. So in the hypertext reference, we will refer to that HTML file that we have. See, when I'm typing HTML, it's giving me a suggestion here of this image, the image that I imported here. So we now have it. And then we can give it a type. This might be necessary or you might not put it, but I love to have it. So for the type attribute, we could actually have, probably we would have something like, we can have something like, on the type attribute, we can have like, this is an image, and maybe this image is an X icon, sort of that. So sometimes this code keeps moving and you're not able to see, but when you press Alt Z on your keyboard, it will be able to display to you all this code and break it so that you can see all of it, so that it doesn't just keep going on the other side. So Alt Z on your keyboard when your code starts overlapping the page. So that's it. So we have now our link. Our link has this real attribute, which is, we call it icon, and then we have a hypertext reference, which is this, which we are referring now to, we're referring to our image that we imported here. So once we have this now, when we save, look at it. Now our web page has an icon. It has a fav icon. You can see it here. This is a logo for HTML5, and we have my first web page on this hand. So that was a bonus for this video. I hope you guys have really enjoyed it. I've personally enjoyed it because I feel like I'm teaching someone out there, someone who's beginning, and this was really nice. So the next video, we shall continue building on this. We will also look at what are other elements that we can have on our page. How can we, what are some of the headings that we can include on our page? If we have more than one heading, how do we do that? Like, we're going to look at all that. Like, how do you able to improve the visibility, the size probably of some of the things? So yeah, that's what we shall look at in the next video. But thank you guys for keeping it up to this point. And yeah, see you in the next video. Do not forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell so that whenever I'm uploading a video like this, you'll be the first person to see. So thank you guys. See you in the next video.